everyone, and welcome to a quick deck video here on the Jolly Scarecrow's channel. We featured Triamid in one of our last videos, and this is a kind of update to those 60 card decks. Through a bit of testing, we've got it down to 40 cards, which is probably easier to obtain, a bit more consistent, and in general a really nice deck. We've added a kind of lock component to it because the new card in here is Fossil Dino Pachycephalo. In some of our builds we were playing Barrier Statue, but actually we quite like playing Fossil Dino in this. And so the idea behind the deck is all based on those past videos, which you can go into. However, basically the three cards you're going to be wanting on the field are Block Dragon, which prevents your rock monsters being destroyed except for by battle. Triamid Sphinx, which can go to 4,000 attack and forces all of your opponent's monsters to battle it, and Fossil Dino Pachycephalo, which prevents both players from special summoning. And so if you've got those three face up on the field, it can really shut down most decks in an entertaining way. And because it's Triamids, you're not expecting them to do pretty well, but actually this deck does all right. That's going to be a quick rundown of the deck, and I'm going to show you a couple of replays, hopefully now, to show how it works in Master Duel. Okay, so in this duel, we can only really start off with Revival Golem. This is a poor start. The opponent is running Magistus, which again, I feel like some of the most fun you can have in Master Duel is when you use these kind of weaker archetypes against each other. I draw really well into the spell, and randomly go into Transverser because I don't really have many other options. Maybe what you should instead do in this situation is just keep your two Triamids on the field. So I use the effect of Dancer to bolster all of their attack. And the effect of King Golem prevents my opponent from using effects, if they had any. They recycle a little bit. Obviously, we've got the nice luxury, we've got Nibiru in there, and so really my aim with the Transverser is that if they do loads of special summons, I want to stick Nibiru in the correct spot for a big old switch. If you're wondering the reason why I just randomly played that. They use some nice negates here. And you can see that they're building up their special summons, but not enough for me to use Nibiru, unfortunately. So here I go into Gorgonic Guardian, really nice Xyz monster for the deck. You can change a monster's attack to 0 and then destroy that monster after that. They're two separate effects, so if you're going up against a deck which uses 0 attack monsters, don't know what that might be, Time Lords? I don't know, something like that. You can just destroy stuff with Gorgonic Guardian anyway. So Gorgonic Guardian also negates the effects of that effect monsters, so they try and block it, and they're not able to because I've targeted them with with the eye. I want to say eye. Gorgonic Guardian. What is it? It's a Banshee type thing. And I've missed the fact that I did genuinely normal summon Nibiru to overpower my other monsters, because I just felt like in this situation that was the best option. I've still got Triamid Sphinxes in hand, so if my opponent were to destroy any of my I think it was rock monsters. Well, no, it's just Triamid cards. Or if they destroyed the field spell. Here you see that wonderful effect of the Gorgonic monster, reducing that monster's attack to 0 when they attack into it, and they've seen enough. Okay, so for this duel we start off with obviously part of Extravagance, and combine that with the Terraforming means that we have our kind of ideal start in having a Triamid monster and a field spell on the field. Interestingly there, I did use the Triamid Fortress and then normal summon Triamid Dancer. I'm not quite sure why I wasn't then able to use the the effects of the field spell, which should let me draw a card and discard one, but maybe that's something to deal with another time. In this instance, we're playing a Hazy Flame deck, and so what you want to do here, when you've got Imperm face down, is wait for this thing to arrive and then Imperm it straight away. Because if it uses its effect twice, and it has 5 materials on it, it can't be destroyed or targeted by card effects. And so this Imperm is perfectly positioned to deal with the situation, and then I think my opponent is just so frustrated by that that they don't bother to attack. Here, in this duel, I nearly set everything up perfectly in terms of the kind of 3 monsters you want. So I have the opportunity here. I've got Triamid Sphinx, I've got Block Dragon, and I use the Triamid Trap card a bit too early, and that prevents me from getting the 3 monsters before my opponent decides that they've had enough. So here, I'm using this lovely combo of playing field spells whilst Triamid loading's on the field, and that lets me search. So I think this is the instance where I retrieve the trap. And so my idea here is to set Pulse and special summon out Fossil Diner to prevent my opponent from special summoning. And I think by using the Triamid Dancer effect, what I've done is I've returned the field spell that I needed to banish with that effect in order to bring back Fossil Diner, because that would have completely crippled them and prevented them from doing this. In the end, I send this to the graveyard, recycle it out, use Pulse, kind of expecting to be able to use Diner, and then I don't have the opportunity to. And so I just use the destruction effect to eliminate the vampire, and that's good enough. So one of those where I was nearly there to be able to play Block Dragon and Fossil Diner to completely lock my opponent out, but we still got the win anyway. Okay, so in this duel, we start off pretty decently. The opponent does Ash Blossom, this Miracle Rupture, but it's okay. We're in a decent situation. I've got Triamid Master face up on the field, and I've put down the field spell to kind of prevent it being destroyed by card effects. Now I do make one misplay here. My opponent plays Ruin, and if I use the Triamid Master to bring out the King Golem, field spell, this would give it also 2,300 attack. And we're going to kind of see this play into fruition now, because I use Fortress to bring back the Master, give it the 2,300 boost, and then ram into it. I just felt like that was the best option at that time. Fortunately, my opponent isn't playing, the best of decks, and so I'm able to kind of hang in there, really, and eventually turn this game around. So Triamid Dancer here lets me recycle the field spell to give them the boost, which the Rock Band can use to overpower Gem Knight. They keep searching for, obviously this is a kind of Ruin Queen deck, which I quite like as a concept. I've not seen many of the newer cards for that, the Demise archetype. And here you can see how once you get Triamid loading and a Triamid monster with a field spell on the field, you can really start cycling things through. And we're able to bring out Sphinx because one of our Triamids got destroyed. In this instance, I send a Triamid monster from my deck to the graveyard, so that when I send Fortress from the field to the graveyard, I'm then able to bring it back to my hand. Here they Torrential, but that's fine because we haven't used the effect of loading yet this turn. So what this means is that I can bring back the Sphinx that's in my graveyard straight to my hand, and then I can summon another one out in the event that they destroy one of my cards on the field. And that's all for the opponent. They surrender from there. Okay, so I love starting with hands like this. We've got loading, we've got the field spells, so we're able to get some of our searches off. In this instance, I've got the correct field spells too, because I've got King Golem, which lets me special summon a Triamid, and so I can play Dancer in defense mode, plus I can use Miracle Rupture, and here you see I get rid of Fossil Diner because my aim is to send the field spell, replace it with another copy of Fortress, or with a copy of Fortress, sorry, and then I can use loading to fetch my trap card. I can also search for Sphinx because I said the field spells to go around, but they've got Pulse, and so because I've got Pulse, I'm able to revive Fossil Diner. We're playing a Magician's Pendulum deck. I've been looking at this as options for playing actually the Gate Guardian kind of trio. We've chosen a different deck type, so not spoiling anything there. Here they just ram into a 2,900 defense monster. I just don't think they expected it to be like that. So I'm using the effects of Fortress and Co here, allowing me to bring back Master, and loading lets me do a search. And so here I can search for King Golem, which lets me boost my monster's attack. And that means I can get over one of their things. And I feel like, yeah, I make a big error here. I didn't set Pulse, which I most definitely should have done. But, yeah, and then my opponent surrenders. So again, in a situation where I had the opportunity to play Fossil Diner, but my opponent surrendered too quickly, and maybe I could have played things slightly better. But then you can see how it would have worked. At a Fossil, brought back Fossil Diner, and then if any of my monsters were destroyed, I could have played the Sphinx from my hand, and if that were to happen before my opponent was attacking, my opponent would have to attack the Sphinx, and they couldn't get over Fossil Diner just through battle. And against a Pendulum deck, you can see how that could be crippling. So I hope you've enjoyed those replays. We'll see you for different decks coming up on the channel in the near future.